Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Social Studies 10th class. So, we were discussing about the 15th chapter, National Liberation Movement in Colonies. And we said that in this chapter we will be discussing about three colonies, that is China, Vietnam, and Nigeria. So, in the last class, we just started discussing about China, and we have seen how Sun Yat-sen and Chiang Kai-shek, how they helped in establishing a kind of democratic rule in China, especially Sun Yat-sen, who is considered to be the founder of modern China. And we discussed about his three principles of San, Min, and Chui. And after the death of Sun Yat-sen, based on his principles, Chiang Kai-shek was able to establish a government under the political party of Kuomintang or KMT. Even though he said that he is following the principles of Sun Yat-sen, he was not clearly or not completely following his principles, and that made him unpopular. And he just supported the elites, especially the rich and factory owners, so made the poor people against him, and taking advantage of that, a new political party, not a new political party, actually that political party was established in China from 1921 onwards, and that political party who weaponized the peasants and the poor people started establishing themselves as a force to reckon with. And here in this class, today's class, we will be discussing about the second part of the liberation movement of China from 1949. So all those activities were helped by, or it was all organized by a man called Mao Zedong. So three topics are there to discuss in this chapter: the rise of Communist Party of China, establishing the new democracy, and land reforms. Okay, so we shall come back. The rise of Chinese Communist Party, which was established in 1921, and we know the year 1921, it comes immediately after the successful Marxist or Socialist revolution of Russia. And under the Lenin, he just declared that they will be supporting all these type of socialist revolutions all around the world. And based on the successful implementation of socialism in Russia, in China also, not only in China, in many parts of the world, communist parties were established. And along with that, in China, in 1921, a Chinese Communist Party was established. Then, there was a little difference in Chinese Communist Party and Russian Communist Party. In Russia, Lenin declared that they will be supporting all the communist uprising or the Marxist uprising all over the world. And in communism or in Marxism, they expected that the revolution will be carried out by the working class people. So when they were saying about the working class people, they especially meant about the working class people from the cities. Whereas in China, Mao Zedong, he was little different from that idea. For him, the working class were not the people only from the factories or only from the cities. Instead, he just tried to impose his ideas, or he tried to get the support of the peasants, agriculturists, workers from the rural area. That was one of the major difference. Okay, so Mao Zedong. Here we can see that he follows the communism, or he follows the socialism, or he follows the Marxism, whatever it is, but his ideology or his method of implementing the principles of Marxism, it was entirely different from the policy of Lenin. Lenin pointed that these kind of activities can be brought out, or it will be successful only with the help of the working class people from the cities. But Mao Zedong, he realized that the real success of establishing this kind of government or this kind of principles will be with the people from the rural areas. So that was one of the major changes. Okay, we shall come back. So even after the establishment of CCP, Kuomintang, KMT, they were continuing with the power or rule over China. Even though Chiang Kai-shek was conservative, we have seen that how conservative he was. He even decided what should be the length of the dress for the women. So such a conservative man he was. He just asked the women to have certain values or virtues and all. So all those kinds of conservative ideologies of Chiang Kai-shek made that Kuomintang party unpopular. And in these circumstances, in 1937, China was attacked by a small neighboring country called Japan. And when it was attacked by Japan, instead of attacking back Japan, the Kuomintang party or the Kuomintang government got retreated. And it just made China a weak nation. So a war makes an economy weak. When the economy is weakening, the common man suffers. Their life will be in under or utter jeopardy. And that had happened exactly in China. So we know what happens when the economy is weakened. We are experiencing at present in India. The GDP of India has been reduced to, or it has been crashed to around minus 23%. So one of the worst economic conditions. Even though the government tries hard in pumping in the money to the market, nothing materializes. So the same kind of situation happened in China. So when the prices increases for the necessary commodities and when the prices decreases for the things what the people makes, we will impose all the blame on the existing government. So automatically the government of Kuomintang or government of Chiang Kai-shek became unpopular. And taking advantage of that, Mao Zedong comes up. He started organizing peoples against the government. And he said that landlordism is one of the major issues that should be tackled. And he organized peasants into an army. Slowly and gradually, Chinese Communist Party became powerful. And when the Chiang Kai-shek and Kuomintang party realized that this man, Mao Zedong, becomes a power to reckon with, they tried to suppress them. So in order to save the cadre or save the followers of Chinese Communist Party, Mao Zedong took all the Chinese Communist Party members to the mountains of Jiangxi. From 1928 to 1934, this many people, thousands of people were stationed in a place called the Jiangxi. And there he addressed the people, the problems of the people, the problems of the peasants, problems of the women. We know that two main group of people who were completely neglected by Kuomintang party under Chiang Kai-shek. Peasants and women. So exactly that two group of people were addressed by Mao Zedong. Peasants, their problems were realized, and women, their problems. And for the women, he said that if Chinese Communist Party is getting back to power, he promised that he will forbid arranged marriage. So in China, there was a system that marriages will be arranged by two families. And the bride and bridegroom had nothing to deal with the marriages. So that kind of marriages were forbidden. Then the divorce, equal opportunities were given for the men and women. And again, about the marriage contracts, there was a system that the people used to sell their marriage contracts. So all those kind of anti-social activities were stopped, or at least promised to stop by Mao Zedong. So automatically the people, especially from the poor peasants and the women, supported Chinese Communist Party and this Mao Zedong. So anyway, in 1934, once again they were brought themselves under the attack of Kuomintang party. In order to save the cadre of Chinese Communist Party, Mao Zedong started a long journey of around 6,000 miles from Jiangxi to Shanxi. Jiangxi to Shanxi. And that journey is marked in the world history as Long March. And that Long March established this Mao Zedong as a popular leader. Remember about the journey that has taken Y.S. Rajashekar Reddy as the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. Through that journey, he just interacted with the people. He realized the problems of the people. He tried to address the problems of the people. So people got an idea that this man has got a fire. This man has got a program. This man has got some plans. So he got himself established as a powerful leader through that long march, around 6,000 miles. And through that program, through that long march, they established themselves in their new base of Yan'an. And he formed a twin agenda of land reforms and nationalism. Two agendas. One is land reforms. The peasants were the two major supporters, peasants and the women. Peasants need what? The land. And for everyone, nationalism. So, two agendas. And in the same time, Kuomintang party and Chinese Communist Party, they came together to fight against Japan. And it was during the time of Second World War. Japan got defeated, and after the defeat of Japan, all the captured areas were returned back to China, and there started a power fight in between Chinese Communist Party and Kuomintang party, and eventually Chinese Communist Party was able to win over Kuomintang party, and Kuomintang party was forced to establish a government in a small island of Taiwan. The entire mainland of China has been brought under Chinese Communist Party in 1949. See, establishing new democracy. So a new government was established. The People Republic of China was established based on new democracy of two principles or two agendas of land reforms and nationalism. And all the key economic activities were brought under the government. Land reforms were taken up, and laws were established to protect the women. Polygamy, a practice of having more than one wife, it was abolished. Equality of men and women was established in the society. Okay, so everything what he just promised to the people was established. And the next thing, what he promised to the people, especially to the peasants, land reforms. He did not take out the land reforms immediately after establishing People's Republic. He has made up, or he just organized certain committees in order to study about the real problems. 2 years of thorough study made them to brought out the land reforms proper in 1950-51. Had 3 programs: identification, confiscation and redistribution. Identifying the land, confiscating the land, capturing the land, redistributing the land. In order to identify, in order to confiscate and in order to redistribute, the work teams were established, and these work teams were established from the people belongs to peasant associations, from the poor people, from the middle class, especially the middle class dominated because their initial position is better. So they dominated this work teams, and it was their duty to identify, confiscate and redistribute. And through the works of work team, around 10 to 20 lakh landlords were humiliated in public and got killed. 10 to 20 lakh landlords. Not only the landlords, even their family members were humiliated and killed during a short period of time. And old elites were entered. Means old landlords. That system was entered. And for them, the new one comes. And the government started establishing peasant schools and successful land reforms and universalization of education that established the present China. The political historians, they are saying that now China is an example for economic development. Okay, whatever the Indian government says or whatever the economic system says, it is a fact that China is a fast growing economy. Sure, Indian economy is also was growing fast, not now. As a result of Corona and all, our GDP growth has been shattered. But China, they are growing well. And it was all mainly based on the successful implementation of land reforms and the universalization of education. Those two programs made China a very powerful nation. And gradually, Chinese Communist Party established the rule of a single party. Single party rule was established in China. And the Chinese Communist Party's chairman, they became powerful in day-to-day administration of China. So that's all about the national liberation movement of China. We have seen that three major names or three main names. Sun Yat-sen, who fought against Manchu dynasty and established a democratic government in China in 1911. A republic was established in 1911 by Sun Yat-sen, and he was followed by Chiang Kai-shek, establishing a new political party of KMT. And along with that, a new other political party, Chinese Communist Party, was established, and its leader was Mao Zedong. And Mao Zedong fought against Kuomintang party and also against the Japan and other aggressors, and they got himself established as the supreme leader of China by 1949. So that's all about the liberation movement of China. Okay, thank you.